What's going on, Raider Nation? So this is week 17. Last week of the season. Some long shot at the postseason, but finally a meaningful game for the Raiders in week 17. There hasn't been one in quite some time. I mean, the only two people who have experienced any shot of the postseason who's been on this Raiders team, with the Raiders at least, were the two kickers, or two special teams players, Shane Leckler, Sebastian Janikowski. Those are the only two guys remaining from those playoff teams. Everyone else is completely different, or from other teams drafted elsewhere. This team has a puncher's chance at the playoffs. But unfortunately, as right now, we need to focus on the Chargers, and only the Chargers. I know people are openly saying it and openly saying this stuff, but it needs to show. It's easy to think about other games because it's not in the Raiders' hands, but winning games we're supposed to win. This is one of them. We're supposed to beat the Chargers, but they got to put their minds to it. The first of all, the big key would be Carson Palmer. That is probably the biggest key to this game. The big pressure shown to be on him. We're going to need to see a lot of better decision making from Palmer. There were times like when there's pressure. I looked back at the game and the offensive line wasn't as bad as advertised. There was like two mistakes they made, but when Palmer has pressure, he couldn't handle it very well. He'll force the pick. He'll force the ball a little bit too much. Doesn't scramble enough. Not as much mobility. This is really going to bank on Palmer. He needs to show that he's in it to win it for this season, just to win this game. The Chargers, they're not going to mail it, and I know they're going to play to win the game, and I know they want to win this game, despite all the drama around them. Their defense is very flawed, and I've said that before. They don't have that great of a defense. You could say what you want about Weddle, but even he's a little overrated in my opinion. He just has a bunch of interceptions, but if you're smart, the throwing won't come to him. Not like that, at least. But yes, the Chargers, a team that, it's funny how they've gone backward every year since Norv Turner took over, and some people laughed at me or were mad at me when I laughed at them for hiring Norv Turner, but of course, it's the truth. They're not winning anything with him as their head coach. It's, think about it this way. It's funny. He's taken them backward every season. Once, he's hired, took him to the AFC Championship game, lost to a then undefeated Patriots team. I'll give him grace. Second time, 8-8 season. I think that's when the Broncos found a way to blow it, and they won Week 17, 8-8 record. Then they win a game against the Colts, but then lose, and then of course they lose the divisional round to the Steelers. Once again, house money, no problem. But then here's where the heat has been on the Chargers since. 11-game win streak. All of a sudden you go one and done to the New York Jets, to a rookie quarterback in Mark Sanchez. And yeah, as I said, an 11-game winning streak to being one and done. And that was the last time they were in the postseason. Of course, last year they didn't even make it. They were 9-7, had the number one ranked offense, number one ranked defense, but it didn't get number one in wins. And that acquires the special teams, and the stats were deceiving on their defense anyway, very average to me. And they were 9-7, but this year they can only go as high as 8-8. That's the big comedy is with the Chargers. They're not even going to have a winning record this year. And that's a backward step from the returner. Their coach is on the line. Their general manager is A.J. Smith is also on the line. Norv Turner just has taken them backward every time, and he inherited a lot of good players from the Marty Schottenheimer teams. I never have been impressed with him at all. That's been the truth. We know what Norv Turner has done before he came to San Diego. Us in Raider Nation, we know that. He's only a good coordinator. He's not a head coach. But going on with this game, secondary needs to play much, much better. There were times that we would give up passes. Once again, in the clutch, that fourth quarter. Once that fourth quarter comes, we lose all that magic that we've had in the first three. I don't want to see any fat drills or fat plays come in the final fourth quarter because this team has done it the last two games. They did it against the Lions. They did it against the Chiefs. A fat screen, and then they let up some plays to set up what could have been a game-losing field goal. And once again, putting their foot off the gas pedal. Very, very nonchalant in the fourth quarter. We're sleepwalking. And we can't do that. We got to play the best game out there and not look at the scoreboard. I know it's easy to, but we cannot do that. Just a little bit of encouragement, or I don't want to see too many of y'all looking too much at the other games. I know we got to watch a few others, but I'm okay if you look at the scoreboard, but don't be obsessed with watching the other games over the Raiders. I know, unless you live in another TV market, but I know it's easy to start looking at the scoreboard because of the situation the Raiders are in. Let me just recap what the Raiders have to do. Besides win, of course, the Broncos would have to lose to the Chiefs. I don't see that happening very much. The Chiefs, outside of Kyle Orton, who else has anything to play for? The Chiefs can easily just mail it in. I don't see how they're motivated for outside of Kyle Orton. So I see the Broncos winning that one. Of course, if something happens and if one of these teams finds ways to win and knocks us in the playoffs, I'll be wearing the colors in the Week 7 postgame video. But odds of that happening, not so much with the Chiefs. The very slim, say 30% chance that happens. And of course, the wild card. First of all, we need the Baltimore Ravens to beat Cincinnati. Good news is the Baltimore Ravens are motivated because they need to win the division themselves. They need to win. So Cincinnati played them tough last time in Baltimore, and that's a 50-50 game in my opinion. Bengals they've overachieved this year. They've been respectable. There's been a lot of good talent from that team. Marvin Lewis, a lot of credit to him. But the Ravens are motivated, and even though they're on the road, at least they know that they need to win the game if they want the AFC North division. That's a 50-50 chance. Then, of course, you need either one of these two to happen. Is have the Titans lose to the Texans. The Texans, I think they're mailing it in. There's a very, very small chance the Texans win that, 20%, because they're playing with a third-string quarterback. I think since Matt Schaub and Matt Leinart are out, and they already clinched their division. So Houston, I don't see them beating Tennessee. That's a very least likely chance to. But the other combination that works is if the New York Jets beat believe it's the Miami Dolphins. That would be very handy in that case because even though the Miami Dolphins are tough, the Jets know they need to win and they're motivated as well. That's a 50-50 game because the Miami Dolphins, as I said before, even though they're playing pretty tough in the second half, they're playing tough football. So that's going to be a very tough game for the Jets. 50-50 game as well. So the Jets winning and the Bengals losing is probably the best hope we have at the postseason. That's realistically speaking. I wish the stadium would not show the scores or at least show the scores because the players are going to see it. I don't want them to get all relaxed and saying, all right, we got this if a game goes in their favor. I wish that the stadium would hide the scoreboard from, at least from the players. It's really annoying to think the players can be relaxed thinking that they're going to just win this game. I need them to just focus on the Chargers because that's the only thing we need to focus on. Rivers, I said, is not the greatest this season, but the potential's still there because of our secondary and our defense. Special teams, still, we should own the special teams. There's no excuses. And the Chargers, I don't know how motivated they are. They don't like their coach. I know that for a fact. Their GM. But I better hope they don't play inspired football because this is, as I said, a game we're supposed to win, and we need to win with composure. Other than that, though, that's about all I got for the Raiders talk. Quickly asking, the A's traded Gio Gonzalez the other day, and it's a little painful to say that, but people, do you guys like the return that the A's got? They got 4 things, 3 pitchers, and a hitter. If you're an A's fan, let me know what you think about that. Also, quick alert, there will be another video, kind of a bonus video, if you want to call it, in the middle of this week. I got a video that's been planned for a while now, If you look at the teams listed on my page, 5 of the 6 have had one thing in common. And, you might find out what it is, but you might have figured it out. But they have something in common, and I'm going to talk about that in my next video. Kind of like as a year-end review, because we're at the end of 2011. So, have a Happy New Year, guys. Have a very safe Happy New Year's Eve, because I know you don't want to be hungover for New Year's Day to watch the game. Got to be careful. And have a Happy New Year. One more video to come to end this 2011 calendar year. We'll see you guys later. Go Raiders, and post-game video will be pretty late because this videos taking a lot longer to upload to the internet. I'll say that right now. It takes a while. So, see you guys later. Go Raiders.